Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. If we look here at the edit, what we have from quite recently is this shot here. It was redone a couple days ago. Well, I guess I posted the video yesterday, if the truth be known. Okay, so now we have sort of a related shot here. And same thing here. Little jerky. Now, I guess the question that comes to mind is, could this be fixed without necessarily completely redoing it in Krita? And to answer that question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot. Just bring it over here and look at it and do what I'm pretty sure I failed to do when I did the shot the first time around, which is flip the darn thing. Yeah, I mean, gosh. You know, it's not horrible, but it's not great. Why don't we keep this in here? We've got the color scheme just by doing that quick cut and paste. So this is shot number 63. I'm having so doggone much fun redoing these shots that why not just do it anyway as an exercise. So, Krita, what was that, 63? 0063. Okay. 0063. Okay. So that becomes our color scheme. And in terms of timing, let's just look at this. I'm not going to look at the exact timing. I'm just going to go. It's about 3 seconds. Okay, and about halfway through, so yeah, Ninja 2 is apologizing profusely, and then Ninja 1 simply does a humble nod. Okay, so that would suggest that the entire video is going to be, or this shot I should say, is going to be 48 minutes. Probably going to be 72 frames, but let's make it, well, I mean 96 is 4 seconds, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it at 100. So there we go. That's the default. That's been saved. This can be brought down. And actually, rather than do that, as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off completely because I want to take the opportunity to reframe the shot. Okay? So now, what we're going to have is we've got Ninja 1 and Ninja 2 standing beside each other. And let's just do this very scribbly. I'm actually going to do the raw pencil test, try to draw a little bit more in accordance with my native proclivities. I had mentioned in yesterday's video that this project has been really, one of the challenges of it has been to have to draw these characters you know, in a way that's really contrary to my natural, as I say, proclivity. So let's just see. Okay, I like that. Alright. I'll just scribble it in. Scribbly, scribbly, scribbly. And now I'm going to go ahead and do a little erasing back in. Chiseling it, you might say. A little chiseling, little sculpting. I like it. That needs to be a little lower. Again, flipping the canvas a lot. Alright. So the idea here is that Ninja 1's got more of an attitude going on. Okay, so let's just get a spine line, if you will. Did Ninja... Yeah, they both had their hands up, so... Okay. So I'm just gonna... When I'm trying to... You know, it's like I always make this distinction between sticks and balls versus pencil test. It's a very important distinction, actually. So what I'm doing here, I would call sticks and balls. I'm just using simple geometries to block in where I'm pretty sure things ought to go. You know, if his elbow was moving on an arc. Okay, and that would be his wrist. So again, simple geometry. Just gets things kind of sort of where they need to be. Probably a secondary step would be to say, well, what's the known volumes, say, of the forearm in this case? And given the known volumes, given the point that we know represents where the elbow is going to be, what does that suggest in terms of going ahead and drawing the full volume of it? Okay, so there's the band around his waist. Alright, I don't like that now that I see it in reverse. Like that better. Okay. B key. Alright, you got this rough size, so we're gonna do a similar scribbling operation here. So it's really weird because what seems to work best in terms of doing a good drawing and getting things blocked in and whatnot is to be very scribbly and loose, followed by being very, like with sticks and balls, very rigid and mathematical, and then back to loose for the pencil test. Okay, so this guy, I really need to come up with a better way to do his... What if we actually do separate spikes like that and then come back in and split the difference? That's not too bad. Alright, so now let's just flip it, finding I really flip the canvas a lot. Flip the canvas a lot. So the eyes, you know, there's a ridge, you know, on the forehead. Alright, of course that's a little winky. Okay, again, flip, flip, flip. Okay, so to be fair, through most of this process, whoops, I really don't want him to have the angry eyes. I want him to have the yikes eyes. That's a very important legal term that you need to know. Yikes eyes. I'm kidding. Okay. Now, let's pull out here. And now let's go to sticks and balls to provide the kind of framework here for the guy's shoulders. Okay, so now this guy's going to be kind of interesting. What I'm going to do, and again, flip, flip, flip. You can't flip the canvas too often, frankly. Okay, a little bit of a curvature this way, convex curvature, because I think it helps to suggest the guy's sort of leaning back. It's a vulnerable position, I guess you might say. Okay, so now this is important. Let's save our work. Now what I've got to do, let's go ahead and split these two guys up right now. All right, so I'm just going to go like this. Cut, paste. Okay, so now they're on separate layers. Okay, so we'll call this N1. We'll call this N2. And now what we need to do is actually, let's make a slight correction here. Let's group that so that we can then take the group. And this will be interesting. I haven't added any keyframes, so I am curious if I have keyframe pass-through turned on, does it create keyframes? I think it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it does not. Okay, so what I wanted to do here is center these guys up a little bit better. I think that'd be okay. And then here I would say let's do that. Flip that. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so he's going to be sitting here glaring while Ninja 2 is going to be... Okay, I'm just figuring this in my head. I think that a bow is going to be... It takes about a second, but I'm going to say 2/3 of a second. So this guy is going to be bowing very quickly. So I'm going to say he's coming up to the upper position there. Okay, and then 18, we want to be on 2s basically. So let's just go to, yeah, let's go to 8. All right, and let's hit insert. And now in order to get this right, I guess we could turn on the onion skins. That would be helpful here. Okay, in order to get this right, I need to look at what I know for a fact is going to change. Well, here's the base of his neck, and then his, you know, maybe his groin or his waistline would be about, yeah, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but it'd be about here. So now what we need to do is we need to draw a candy cane, because what's really going to happen here is he's bending way over, like so. Okay, so now this would be the back of his neck, right? And if the back of his neck was there, all we would even see is his spikes. Okay, so let's turn the onion skins back off and see. So that's actually kind of funny. What I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to do a little experiment here. based on some things I've learned about how the eye perceives motion, I'm very seriously thinking I can cheat this in a major way. And the way I'm going to cheat it is by going here, and let's go ahead and turn the onion skins back on. Okay. Alright. So probably somewhere in the middle here you'd get a something like that going on. Okay, now let's just see if this works. And I'm going to really cheat it. I'm going to actually jump up to here. Put a duplicate here. Just so I can see if this worked. Okay, so I'm actually going to grab these guys. So that he's basically bowing like profusely. That is exactly correct. I mean, that feels really good. So that intermediate, and the thing I was concerned about, and it turns out I think I was right, is that what we need here is something like this, and then these get lighter. So actually this right there should be removed in favor of a very light outline of what was there before he started moving. Okay. You see, because if you don't have that modification, you get a ghosting, kind of an inappropriate ghosting going on. So I love that. I really like the motion. Okay, we're still seeing that ghosting though. So yeah, I would say let's just take this out, and let's just see how it works with it out first of all. Okay, so my suspicion is very light. I literally am making this up as I go along. I have no idea if this is going to work. And I'm going to hit my eraser. Actually, let's use this brush because it's a little more aggressive. And I'm just going to scribble those guys out, and let's just see. Okay, that's not too bad. I don't know that it's perfect, but we can tighten it up in the ink and paint stage, I would say. But at this juncture, since this is quite a complete cycle, I'm going to go ahead and just keep copying this downstream so it follows throughout the entire scene. He never stops profusely apologizing and bowing. Okay, this has been kind of an iron law throughout this production, is if there's ever anything that happens that makes me blurt out laughing, it's usually a keeper. Now, how this effect that I feel looks really good at the pencil test stage, how that's going to translate to ink and paint, I'm not sure. And it may prove to be somewhat difficult, actually. However, let's just keep rolling forward. Okay, so here we do need to delineate Mr. Ninja One's hand, because they do have their hands up. And the next thing we want to do is get the motion right. Now, basically what I want to do is convey a sense of sarcasm, if I can, when he says his line. Our humblest apologies. Okay, and I'm going to say humble. The word humble is going to be on frame 36. Okay, so let's just delete that. We'll turn the onion skins on. Alright, so this line, and I'm only going to have the onion skins on here for a second, just long enough to make sure I've got things roughly in the correct position. Okay, so there's his headband, and actually, let's do it this way. Let's cheat. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since this is essentially a straight ahead shot, why not use the mirroring to my advantage? Okay, that's fine. And now what we're going to do is tilt it. Alright. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, this is going to be a slow turn. So 1, 2. Did I get that right? 36. 34, 32, 30. Let's go here. And I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a crack. No, that didn't work. Trying to do a cheat here. I've tried this a few different times. It kind of works, at least for blocking in the character's positioning. I mean, you definitely want to go in and tighten it up with a better drawing, but in terms of going from a well balanced, symmetrical, straight ahead pose to a 3/4, this technique is not too bad. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so now what I want to do is make sure there's nothing selected, and the actual positioning of his head will be wrong as well. Okay, I would expect. Yeah. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, shrink it a bit. Alright, let's turn the onion skins back on. Okay, so now what we need to do, turn the onion skins back off, save our work, make sure nothing's selected, and now what we want to do is try to harmonize this. The main thing we've got wrong here is the angularity, and I would say the size of the eyes. Obviously he looks cross-eyed here. I don't need you to tell me that. I am well aware. Okay, and I'm thinking maybe, yeah, too far apart as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting exercise to see if we can take a perfectly symmetrical drawing and make it work, as I'm doing here. Now, since the eyes are too close and too large, I'm thinking we can do something like that. So you can see the problem that I certainly run the risk with here is to wind up with subsequent drawings that essentially don't even look like the same guy. I mean, obviously that is what's going on here. But again, this is a bit of an experiment to see if I can take those sorts of things and, you know, fix them, make them work, yada yada yada. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, this seems too low to me. Okay. Now let's just see what happens if we run these together. Okay. Main issue we have here is with his chin, and frankly it's this drawing that's the problem, because not that I don't like the way I drew it, but the reality is, you know, we're talking about through the entire rest of the show, he's never been really drawn that way, so it needs to be a rounder chin. End of story. And this matter of fixing it is kind of misguided, since we are deviating from the original design of the character, and that's a big no-no. So I'll just sketch that in. Okay, and then let's go like so. Actually that one could be gotten rid of. Okay, so now he's gonna okay, so now this I think is lame-o. Okay, so now we have a situation where we have movement that I am not actually convinced is ever gonna work. So I am, in a very real sense, polishing a turd here, potentially. If you've never heard that term, that's when you are essentially trying to fix something that is fundamentally broken from a design standpoint. So you're polishing a turd means you're taking something that has a bad design and you're trying to fix the details of it, and no matter what you do to those details, you'll never make it suitable because the fundamental design is flawed. So we do have that situation here. I think that if I put his headband across like this, probably could just do some sculpting on his chin. Okay, let's just kick back here. So we got this, this, this. So this really needs to be more like here. Alright. Okay, so let's put in some guidelines here. Okay. Alright, let's do a similar, let's get the side of the head arc. Okay, so it's really just turning, it's really not moving very much. So now this is kind of important. This arc, straight. Let's give that a little more curvature there. And let's give it a little more curvature here as well. Okay. So this is sort of problematic because actually this should be in shadow. In other words, I made the guy's chin too long. Alright, let's follow this, 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 this. Okay, so this is going to be like something like that. Okay. The problem with this frame, IMHO, is it doesn't have enough of a okay. Here, the eyes are still too large. Ah, come on, baby. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now what I want to get is we got this interesting arc right here, which is pretty consistent across these keyframes. So I think presumably that would be something like that, which suggests that, yeah, here, let's see what that feels like when it just flows. Horrible, horrible. This has got to go. Okay, so this is actually quite interesting because okay, well, what's the takeaway? It appears to me that everything that I did that was this is why this is such a valuable learning experience. You look at Ninja number 2, and it's absolutely right on the money. Ninja 1, it's stiff, it's choppy, it's kind of like, okay, is this what happens when you try to use the digital tools to make your job easier? And I'm gonna say it appears to be. So let's get rid of all of that. Get rid of that, get rid of that. And here we're gonna just go Control Insert, and I'll just drag this to here actually. So all I need to do now is draw the final pose. This is where I need to get back to what makes way more sense for me, which is freaking draw, dude. Okay? So now, okay, so what am I feeling here? What I'm feeling is I'm feeling an attitude of his chin being up high. Okay, and now we definitely need to flip the canvas because I am definitely not amazing at drawing symmetrically. Okay. A key. Just gonna have a little bit of a natural reaction here when he changes his attitude. So again, as always, working from the known to the unknown. Well, what's known is his mouth, but of course, duh, his mouth is covered. But it helps to kind of put it in there to see, you know, where would his chin go? Okay, there's going to be a balance problem that flipping the canvas will help me to mitigate. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get rid of that completely. Boom. Okay, so now here's the spot where potentially I'm going to lose the character. I don't think I'm going to lose the character, but it is a real risk. Why? Because for the most part, where is a character seen? You got it, in the eyes. And I also don't want to lose the okay, those have to go. I don't want to lose the sort of attitude and characterization that we've had pretty consistent throughout the show. This guy's definitely got a bit of an attitude. Okay. What if? Not sure. Okay, so alright, I'm going to go ahead and do a similar thing to what I did before. Okay. Just so we get a little bit of continuity. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So zoom out a little bit there, Jack. And so, for whatever stupid reason, the selection tool for the first time ever is adding to its selection every time. So now, what I want here, let's see if that continues. It is. So I wonder if that's in tool options. Yeah. Mode, pixel, vector, action, replace, intersect, add. A. So within this, yeah, there you go. So within the tool, if you hit the A key, it does this addition thing. I mean, that's good to know, right? Okay, so now we've got, let's turn on the onion skins, and that should give us pretty much what we need to know. Okay, so now it doesn't work here because, yeah, that's just a cheat. That's definitely not going to work. So Well, the little tween with the hands is probably okay, so let's just... We've got to do this the hard way, which means we need to draw. Draw. And drawing is fun. So, what I'm going to do is make 2 tweens. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to go here, here, here. Okay. I'm just going to do straight tweening here. I'm not going to try to be too smart about it. So here's that contour, contour, contour. Probably the ear would go something like that. Okay, so now this is key. This. I guess if it's a straight tween, it's going to be something like that. So clearly we're easing into the motion. So again, straight tween should put us something like there. Okay, let's go ahead and deal with his eyeball. Okay, so the eyeball's going to go there. Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. And it's not quite it. I think it'd be a little further out. Okay. Now let's deal with the contour of his whatever you call it. Okay. Okay, so let's turn the onion skins off. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like it. Okay, now let's just go through and make some... And in fact, let's deliberately flip the canvas here while we make some judicious corrections. Okay, and I think one of the things we could do to guide that process would be to draw the center line here, and you can see how the straight tweens on the face mask were botched. So let's check the bottom. It's essentially right at his jawline. 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 Kind of like that. Put a little indicator of the ear. Okay, so that's going to be kind of sort of there. Kind of sort of there. Kind of sort of there. Okay. So we got this curve becomes slightly concave, becomes slightly convex, settles. Now, because we don't have enough keyframes to work with here, we can't actually get the tween of that completely right. I don't know if that made sense, but basically, because it flexes here, but we never really see it come back. You really kind of sort of want them in between tween there to get from that to that, but that's okay for such a minor part of the character. It's not like that's going to command any attention, really. Okay, so now we're kind of going with comic booky eyes here. Okay. And right here, I'm quite aware that the eyes are not looking in the right place. That one is. Okay. Let me get a little more sketchy on this part. That might want to come in a bit. Alright, a little more roundness here. Okay, not too bad. Boom. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's just deal with it. This seems to be the frame where the eyes are the most whacked. That's better. Okay, that becomes confusing to look at, so let's just erase it. Alright, let's take a look at this guy's motion. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so the only thing I'm objecting to here would be, I think, honestly, his whole self should tilt back a bit. So let's see if that feels slightly better. And zoom. Yeah, it does. Okay, so now I'm just going to test this. This is a total wild shot, whether this will work. But I'm going to try it, because if I can save time by mirroring frames, if it looks good and it's convincing, then... And it might be additionally not just because it works, but also because we have the additional distraction of this guy bowing over and over. Our humblest apologies, miss. Yeah, that actually works. Other than, yeah, you don't want to come back to this pose. So, he goes, our humblest apologies, miss. Very good. Okay, so let's see. Very good. Very, very, very good. I like it. So, our humblest apologies. Okay, the only thing I'm objecting to, and by the way, this can obviously be deleted because that's a duplicate of this, but there's one thing. Yeah, right here, why don't we go ahead and add a little bit of a balance there and see if that makes it all feel just a little bit better. Not quite. Oh, maybe. Yeah, okay. This head turn, I like this, but let me just put it here and see if that feels better. Yeah, it does. Okay, so simpler is better. Our humblest apologies, miss. Okay, so this, I think, could be dragged back to about here. Our humblest apologies, miss. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. In fact, actually, I'm going to put it up 2 more frames. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to stop here. It's been almost an hour. It's a good pencil test. Let's flip it and just make sure it's feeling good when it's run. In the opposite orientation. I would say yes. So the next step will be ink and paint. I love what this guy's doing. It's absolutely superb. Okay. And with that, we will sign off. And as you guys know, there will be more later.